Hello, everybody. Now, you look. I'm gonna say that it's a tier list in the title, in the thumbnail, so it's not gonna be confusing or something. I don't know. I just want to say, I am supposed to be finishing Halo 2 Legendary, but I booted up MCC after watching like 800 where 343 went wrong and why I don't like 343 and why a new Halo has always sucked and stuff videos, and I was just like, you know what? I love Halo 2, but like I'm just not in the mood. And honestly, I kind of have an addiction right now to Borderlands 2 at the moment, and like I'd be willing to play the other games as well cuz I don't know, I'm kind of on the cycle. I'm on the cycle of being addicted to this game. And I've awoken to every time I play through Borderlands 2 seriously, I feel like I awake to a new level of understanding of the game. Like I learn new skips, new tricks, new stuff about guns and gun parts and names and stuff. Sorry, ignore that. But I'm just saying, it's great, it's fun, and I'm enjoying the process. Even though I was like already a self-proclaimed expert at these games, except for Borderlands 1, of which I am not an expert, but I have played a lot of. Speaking of which, I am going to order them based on game and not based on name, which it is currently ordered based on name. So we go Lilith, Mordecai, Brick, Roland, and we go 0, Axton, Salvador, Maya, Gaige, Krieg. Then TPS would be Athena, Claptrap, Nisha, Wilhelm, then Baroness, then Jack? I'm pretty sure it's that order anyway. The first four obviously don't matter, even if there's like a canonical order and I could go to the game and check the menu. I don't care. You don't care, I don't care. And then the last four are Borderlands 3 by default. Wow, it's funny how that works out that way. Okay. Here we go. Starting with Lilith. Honestly, starting out strong. I am a big fan of the Borderlands 1 Vault Hunters. They are they're not very customizable, but they're all kinda broken because the game's kinda jank and sort of exploitable. I mean, so is Borderlands 2, but like, I would say Borderlands 1 is slightly more so in some ways. I guess in some ways it's not, but ignore that. You know what? Don't ignore it. This is my video. It's gonna be 2 hours long. Fuck you. Wait, are we 5 minutes in? Oh, we're not. You know what? Whatever. Wait, is it 30 seconds that I can curse? I don't care anymore. Anyway, Lilith. Anyone who's played Borderlands 1 will tell you this is the strongest character in Borderlands 1. She's insane. All her skills are nuts. She moves really fast. Her action skill's really broken. She's survivable. She does lots of damage. It's mostly fire damage, I guess, but like in Borderlands 1, that's good. So, whatever. She's good. She's good. Actually, no, I think she does good corrosion damage as well. Look, like I said, I'm not an expert on Borderlands 1, but I have played all of the Vault Hunters up to level 50 in it. So I know enough about them, and from other people, I know enough about them to rate them. I like Lilith in Borderlands 1. This isn't a character tier list, okay? I'm not solely rating them based off of their personality. But even if I was, Lilith would be an S tier, because in Borderlands 1, when she's a Vault Hunter, which is what I'm rating her off of, she's cool and fun to play as, and I like her personality, and she's sick. I like Lilith. Lilith is awesome. Mordecai. Personally, my second favorite Borderlands 1 Vault Hunter. I'm putting him in A tier. He's a lot of fun. Technically, in the Game of the Year edition, I think they fixed the cool Mordecai build. So if you're playing it now, you probably can't do it unless you have an original copy of BL1 on an Xbox. But it's really fun to just throw, it's not Talon, it's Bloodwing, to just throw Bloodwing out, and they just instantly kill every enemy forever, and they just play the game for you. And okay, maybe that's not fun for some people, but for me, it's fun. And not to mention, he also has a really good pistol and sniper rifle build as well as the not exploitative broken build, which is also fun. You know, it's nice. I'm a big fan of Mordecai. The first Borderlands 1 playthrough I did was Mordecai. Brick's awesome. He's a great character. He's a lot of fun. Everyone always memes on the regenerating rocket launcher ammo, but it was sick. Brick is cool. I don't like him quite as much as Mordecai, but Brick is awesome. Roland, I am not basing this off of Borderlands 2, only Borderlands 1. Roland is a wet napkin. He's boring. He's lame. His skills suck. He's like kinda the healer of the party, but like anyone who's played Maya in Borderlands 2 knows that she's way better at it, and it's way more fun to play as Maya in Borderlands 2 as a healer than it is to play as Roland in Borderlands 1. If you really like the healer playstyle, which I like if I'm playing in a party of at least 3 people, okay? If I'm playing in a party of 2 or 1, healers are ass. They're terrible. And I know maybe that's cope. Maybe you're like me and my like boyfriend were playing through Borderlands and I was his healer and it was so nice. And this is not me impersonating a girl, by the way. This is me impersonating 2 gay men. So get your head out of the space in which you think that I'm being accusatory of women playing healers. Oh shoot, but now you're gonna be like, but now you're saying only gay guys play healers. You know what? Fuck you. Anyway. Yes, Roland can be fun in parties of 4. If there's 4 people playing Borderlands 1, and the other 3 people picked the cool characters, and you picked Roland, then Roland is actually, in my opinion, like, C tier. And I know that's still pretty low, but he can be kind of fun to give your team ammo and give them healing. It's okay. Him as anything other than that, though, is unbearable to play. He's so weak. His damage is just... Zero. Zero is the first character I played Borderlands 2 with. I played Melee Zero. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. That's why I always play Melee build. Borderlands 2 is my first Borderlands game. Which is why, obviously, I say I'm not that familiar with Borderlands 1. And that's why in every subsequent game, I try to make Melee builds work. Mostly. I mean, we'll get to that. Also why I think melee weapons in Tina's is a great addition. But the Tina's Vault Hunters aren't on here, and they shouldn't be because they're not characters, but whatever. It's not the point. It's not the point. The point is, Zero is awesome. His melee build is really fun. His sniping build is really fun. His pistols build is really fun. This character is really fun. They did a great job with Zero. His personality is great. His, like, weird, mysterious assassin thing is great. I'm only rating him for his work in Borderlands 2, though, when you play as him. Even though, technically, in Tales, which he was in, and Borderlands 3, he's awesome in those as well. I love Zero. He's great. S tier. Alright, cool. I don't think anyone's gonna complain that I put Zero in S tier. I'll order the tiers after when I'm done, just in case you're like, you're putting Zero behind Lilith? Anyway, Axton. Okay, this is a weird take. Base game Axton in Borderlands 2 has a lot of cool skills that kind of synergize in niche ways. His turret's okay in normal mode. It's kind of usable in true Vault Hunter mode if you get the slag turrets and the shield. In ultimate Vault Hunter mode, it's a grenade essentially that boosts your stats for a couple of seconds because of one of your skills. And that's it. And it's really a terrible, terrible action skill that does nothing. And he's bad. And he kind of does nothing. But his skills are kind of cool and kind of neat. Like, he's sort of an all-rounder character, so you can use almost any weapon you pick up on Axton, and it will be pretty good on him. He's better, technically, if you, like, spec him in the most damagey way possible. I think it's his best, like, builds... Dev intended. Obviously, this isn't actually what he's good at because they're awful, or like Jacob's assault rifles, right? He's good with Jacob's assault rifles. He's good with non-elemental guns, and grenades, and rocket launchers. But it doesn't really work out that way, and he's kind of just like bad, and you sort of just wind up abusing like B shield strategies like you do on every other character in the game, but worse, because Axton's worse. But in UCP, where they do a lot of buffs to characters, like Axton and Gaige, who I just played, so you can watch that playthrough if you're seeing this tier list for some reason before watching that. Axton in, like, okay, yeah, technically it's a mod, so I shouldn't rate Axton based off a mod, but, like, it's also how much fun I've had playing him. I've had a lot of fun playing Axton. I think he's one of my, like... I don't hate any of the Borderlands 2 Vault Hunters, except for maybe Krieg. We'll talk about it. So I'm putting Axton in C tier. I know, I hyped him up for that long, and you're like, you're putting him in C tier? Look, shut up. It's the tiers have to be here for a reason, okay? If I put everyone in S tier just because I like playing the game, there would be no point in me making this tier list. Salvador. Okay. Controversial take. I think just because you can use any gun in the game, you are really good with grenades, you're really good with rocket launchers, you're good with pistols, SMGs, assault rifles. The only character in the game that is baseline good with assault rifles, because assault rifles, for some reason, do 20% less damage than they should, just because. And so assault rifles in Borderlands 2 baseline are terrible, but I like to play with a mod in which they are actually pretty good. And okay, yes, there's a couple of assault rifles in the game that are usable, but that's not my point. That is not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that Salvador is insanely good, but if you're playing him optimally, which is, 11 points in money shot, double penetrating unkempt herald, grog nozzle, you one-shot like every raid boss in the game. This character's lame as hell. He's so boring. Like, it makes the game, like, unfun. He's so good that I don't want to play him, because he's just too good. Caveat to that, if you play in a 4-man party, much like Roland here, and you decide to spec into the rightmost tree and be the party's tank, where for some reason he has a taunt and he gains HP and stuff, and it's kind of fun and neat, I really enjoy that that's an option. It's bad and doesn't really do anything, but I like it, and it's cool. And gunzerking can be really neat, because you can use any 2 guns in the game, which admittedly, almost always, it's what's the best slag gun that matches this other gun that's really good most of the time, because he gets a damage bonus if he uses 2 of the same, but I think he gets a fire rate bonus if he uses 2 different ones. I'd have to look. Salvador, I've played enough, but I have not played as much as the other Vault Hunters in Borderlands 2. Actually, second least played, but still, I don't know. Salvador is okay. I kind of hate him because he's so strong, and this isn't a power tier list. This is a how much I like them tier list. And yes, even though Lilith is the strongest and she's at the top and Roland's the weakest and he's at the bottom, doesn't mean that that's the case. Because, like, I just don't like Salvador very much. So I'm gonna leave him in the same tier that I put Axton, where I said I really like him. Because I'm a coward and I can't put Salvador any lower than this because I know that if I do, people will torch me. And you know what? No one watches my videos. Salvador goes into D tier. He's too OP. I don't like him. And yes, I know I can play him with nerfs in UCP, but why would I mod a game to nerf a character? And okay, yeah, you're probably hearing me complain about how I don't like him because he's too strong. And then go like, why would I nerf him willingly? But you know what? You probably think the same thing unless you are a grog nozzle unkempt herald abuser. Okay? I guarantee you're probably on the same line of logic. So, I don't want to hear it. Maya. All of Maya's skills are kind of good. Except for, like, her bottom skills, right? But in UCP, they're usable. But technically, we don't... It's not a part of the base game, and not everyone can use it because it's... Well, you can actually mod an Xbox 360. So if you're playing Borderlands 2 on an Xbox 360 and you have a USB flash drive, you can mod the game. I've done it. It's possible. I am not putting up a tutorial because I don't have my Xbox anymore. But, just take it from me, it's doable. Maya's great. I love her character. She's really fun. All of her skills are fun. Healer Maya's fun. Damage Maya's fun. Even like a mix of both of Maya is fun. Phase resing people is fun. Turning enemies against each other, even though it's bad, is fun. Shooting scorn orbs that slag and do damage is fun, even if it's bad. Like, this character is just really well designed. Surprisingly, like, weirdly, when you, like, pick her, you're like, oh, I just have, like, phase lock. Like, what could that do? Like, I don't know. Like, I've got a bunch of healer skills. Oh, man, that's gotta make my character weaker, but it doesn't really. Maya's just really good and really fun. So I'm gonna put her in A tier. Yeah, not ordering the tiers yet. Gaige. Guess I should just start them and see. Gaige was my favorite Vault Hunter in Borderlands 2 for a very long time. And when I heard that they had fixed a bunch of her skills and buffed some of her terrible ones in the unofficial community patch, I was hyped. I was like, oh my gosh, I can finally try like a bunch of different Gaige builds and make her work, and it'll be really interesting. Unfortunately, because it's not a complete overhaul, I would go as far as to say that if you take the time to stack a lot and, like, I don't know what to do about Death Trap necessarily, but if you try really hard, I would say Melee Gaige can clear all of the content but raid bosses with the unofficial community patch, which is fun. So, you know what? It's another build. But the thing with Gaige that sucks is that she has an entire skill tree that you cannot use unless you have Anarchy. And if you're using Anarchy properly, which, to be fair, the whole tree pretty much makes you use Anarchy. So if you're using... There's actually a lot of her skills are dedicated to just giving you Anarchy, actually. And the one on the bottom does nothing for 90% of her builds, which, to be fair, she only has, like, 2 other builds other than Melee Gaige in the patch. Out of the patch, Melee Gaige does not work at all. Do not do it unless you're exploiting something fierce. If you're exploiting, at that point, why even play Gaige, right? You're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna break the game by making sure my shield is always 0 and having like 1 HP, but I'm gonna make it to where I can like heal infinite health with every attack and all my like I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff you can do, right? You could be invincible, or you could have an infinite like Nova shield, or you could have an infinite Roid shield, but like you're not playing Gaige at that point, right? Just play Zero. Because Zero's got a melee build too, and if you're gonna break it like that, just frickin', you know, use Zero's melee build because it's better and it's more fun. And melee Gaige is kind of okay because you could put shields on Deathtrap, and then he can just solo the game for you. And he kind of can. I would say the only reason to build that build is if you intend for Deathtrap to solo the game for you, and to not go into With Claws anyway, even though it's buffed. Unless you want to stack to 999 stacks before you start clawing people, in which case, yes, you'll one-shot people with your melee, but it's so lame. It's so lame. Gaige, like, Anarchy's lame. The shock tree is pretty cool. I'll give that to Gaige. It's neat. It does some things. A lot of the skills in it don't really work very well. In the patch, they work again, and they do okay damage, and they're fine, but in base Borderlands 2, a lot of them don't work very well, like the sparkly vampires one at the bottom of the middle tree, like, doesn't do anything in base Borderlands 2. Feel free to look that up, by the way, and fact check me. It's just, I really like the playstyle, though, of an Anarchy Gaige sometimes, right? I like the fact that her bullets will ricochet off walls, and sometimes they'll bounce off of enemies and hit other enemies. And you can go really hard with some of these, like, fixed pattern guns and, like, low ammo shotguns and get really high Anarchy. And I think that is a decent playstyle. And obviously you do this with mostly shock weapons because you have a shock tree, so you might as well do it. So it's okay, but it's not very diverse, and it leads itself to, like, a very one-note way of playing the game. And she used to be my favorite Borderlands 2 Vault Hunter, but now I would honestly say that she's tied with Axton for me. I like her, and I like Axton, but you know what? They're here. I'm tempted to put them in B and then move Salvador up. I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Alright. Well, there you go then. Alright, Krieg. I don't know, man. Krieg has so many, like, passives and weird things going on with his kit that don't make any sense to me. Like, you can be killed by your friends, you can kill yourself, like, you can set yourself on fire, like, your grenades are okay, but sometimes you're, like, a badass psycho, but in Ultimate Vault Hunter, like, none of that really works, because you turn into your super form and you just get one shot anyway, and it's like, oh, but you can't really die. And it's like, yeah, but then you get, like, left to, like, one, and then you just get killed anyway, and it's like, what, you can die, it's just like, I don't, look, sorry, I haven't played that much Krieg. I've done a full playthrough on almost every Vault Hunter except for Krieg. Well, I say almost, and then except for, which technically don't work grammatically speaking, but the implication, I'm just saying, in Borderlands 2, Krieg's the only character I haven't finished a playthrough as, and it's not because I hate him. Okay, I like Fastball Krieg, it's fun, but, like, meleeing as him is kind of fun, like, throwing the buzz axe is okay, but it's just not quite as satisfying as Zero. I like his character well enough, but I don't know. Like, I'd rather play Krieg than Salvador, because at least I'm doing something that, like, yes, Salvador's gameplay is more interesting, but he's just, I don't know, it feels restricting to play Salvador, because it's just like, I don't know, it's difficult to explain. He's, like, easily, like, the least restrictive character in Borderlands 2, because he's so good he can literally use anything. But that's why I don't want to play him. But, like, at the same time, it's like, oh, but I should rate him higher because of that. But I don't, because I don't like him. But in any case, if I'm playing, like, multiplayer, I don't really want a Krieg on my team. Now, if I'm playing by myself, I feel like... I don't know. Man, I feel like I'd rather just play like Gaige or Axton. So I have a friend with me. So it's just I don't really like Krieg that much. So I'm gonna keep him in C tier. Sorry, Krieg. Athena. Okay, Athena's weird in the pre-sequel. Oh, I am not a pre-sequel hater, by the way. I know a lot of people are. I'm not one of them. Sorry if you are and you want me to hate the pre-sequel with you. Athena's weird. She's a lot of fun. She's really cool. Her skills are awesome. But her, like, ultimate Vault Hunter build is super strange. Like, you stack Maelstrom, but it stacks really fast, but it goes away really, really fast, which is, like, kind of like Zero's crit skill, but it's, like, almost more polarizing, and then you, like, blast all your Maelstrom stacks and do huge damage, and you can, like, tether things, and I don't know, man. I just think her melee build's a lot of fun. That's all I can say about it. Her Maelstrom build is fine. It's cool. I like doing it at max level, but obviously before then, it's melee build up until UVHM. Her action skill is really cool, and I like it a lot. You take no damage from the front for the duration of the skill, and the damage you take is stored in your shield. Then you throw your shield, and it does damage based on the damage you absorbed. And it's good. It's good. It's really cool. You kind of feel like Captain America a little bit. You got a sword, though, which is fun. I really like Athena. That being said, feel free to crucify me for this, but I think that other than one exception, the pre-sequel has had, by and large, the best Vault Hunter design in the entire series. So if I compare Athena to every Vault Hunter in the series, I'd put her in S, but then I'd move, like, the Borderlands 1 Vault Hunters down because, you know, Borderlands 1 was a different game than the later games, and of course they're not as interesting, but obviously I'm comparing them to how they are in their own game because it wouldn't be fair otherwise, in most cases. So, compared to all the characters in the pre-sequel, I put Athena in A. I really like her, but she is not the best pre-sequel Vault Hunter. Claptrap. Claptrap is awesome. All his skills are really fun. He has a million random bullshit things that can happen to him at any given time, and it's sick, and I love it. And a lot of people who play this game a lot are like, oh, I don't like that. Like, I don't like the Claptrap thing. You can't really base a build around it. And I'm just like, I don't care. I'll just have 4 good guns equipped, and hopefully I can use one of them. Like, it's a lot of fun. I really like his action skill thing. He's insane. And playing as a little robot, like, his, like, personality and stuff is fun. You don't have to breathe in space because you're a robot. It's cool. I'm a Claptrap fan. Granted, I don't like him as much as Athena, so I put him in B tier. If I was rating all of the Vault Hunters directly against each other specifically, I would probably put him in S. I'd probably put, like, every pre-sequel Vault Hunter in S. But I'm going to put Claptrap in B tier. I think he's a lot of fun. He's obviously a lot more fun with friends. The game is designed to be played with friends. A lot of characters are more fun with friends. Nisha, she's insane. She's basically Salvador, but she's gunzerking all the time. Kind of. It's not as strong, but it feels as strong when you're playing the pre-sequel. Her action skill is stupid. It's really good. Her melee build is really funny. It sucks, but it's funny, and that's what matters. Nisha is so cool and so broken, but I I put her in B tier with Claptrap. I don't think she's the epitome of the pre-sequels roster. Wilhelm. Look, I'm putting Wilhelm in D tier. Wilhelm has a gimmick that I think is one of the cooler gimmicks in which I think a later Vault Hunter also does, kind of, and that I like a lot. In which, if you level up certain skills, visually he changes, which is neat. Except that entire tree is kind of garbage, and a lot of his skills are really bad, and his action skill is that he gets a healer drone, and he gets like a drone that does damage. They kind of fall off really fast, but they're useful for passives. But like, you just like spam laser beams as Wilhelm, really, in late game. To be fair, that's kind of what you do as most characters, other than Nisha. But still, he's just, I don't like him. Look, I don't like Wilhelm. Sorry. Yeah, that's all I can say. The Baroness. Okay, most people would rate the Baroness pretty low, I think. I would not. I would rate her in A tier. For the same reason that I put Salvador in C tier, kind of. I put the Baroness in A tier. People like to complain that she has that whole mechanic where she has like a servant and then you get bonuses between you and your servant. But like, the skill tree's not weak. You just have to play the game with people to use it. And I know, I'm on the internet, and God forbid people are actually social. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, if you don't want to play with other people, you don't have to play the character. But if you do play with other people, she's a lot of fun. And even if you don't, you could just fully spec out her 2 other trees and she's still a good character. But the reason I like her so much is because Cryo was introduced in the pre-sequel. And, differently from Borderlands 3, does Borderlands 3 have Cryo? I'm pretty sure it does. It does. 100% it does. It's just not as strong. And then Tina's has Cryo as well, but it works differently because it does the extra damage to undead and whatever. Yeah. I'm not talking about that right now. All I'm saying is it adds cryo damage. Cryo damage in the pre-sequel is stupid. It stun locks everything in the game for like 5 seconds. There's like, you know, it just is what it is. They just lose. Unless they're a boss, obviously. Well, some bosses actually can get frozen, but, you know, not all of them. In any case. Then, explosive damage and melee damage do twice as much damage to things that are frozen. It might be more, it might be less, but I'm pretty sure it's twice as much. I could have a sheet open right now telling me about all of the intricate mechanics of the pre-sequel's cryo system, but I don't need to. All I'm saying is, you send out her little ice thing, it literally can solo an entire bandit camp on normal and true Vault Hunter mode by itself without you even doing anything. But if you are doing something, you can just snipe things, because you have a sniper build, and guess what? They're stunned for like 5 seconds, so you just snipe them. Not to mention, if you go down your build, the build with your friend, where you have a contract, you get a powerful like backhand slap on people that does a lot of damage. And guess what? It does a lot of damage to cryo people too. Baroness, very strong, very scary. Freezing is dumb. The pre-sequel is kind of dumb, but I like it. And I like playing as the Baroness, and she's sassy and mean. Timothy. It's Timothy, right? I'm pretty sure it is. But, well, it's Jack in the game. Jack's body double, you know? Yeah, it's Timothy Lawrence. Yeah, I didn't even look it up. I just remembered. He's awesome. S tier, obviously. Best Vault Hunter probably in the series. I would wager to guess that he's actually the strongest Vault Hunter that's ever come out. he might be better than Salvador. It would be close. The two of them would definitely go toe-to-toe in power level, for sure. But Timothy's insane. He's so good. All of his skills are cool. They all do something. He has 100 different builds. He like, people who designed him were on something crazy, okay? They were on something crazy. They made, like, this character so much fun. He's so much fun to play. And he's got, like, bonuses if he has, like, different things from the same company, which is fun because it allows for more builds and more diversity. And hello, dog. And you just, like, you can do so much. You can do so much. And he's so good, and he's so strong, and he's so OP. And yes, you might be thinking, but Salvador's the same, and you put him in C tier. Alright, look. I don't know how to tell you this. Life's not fair. I like Timothy. I don't like Salvador. Sorry. Sorry. I apologize. Amara. Oh man, what do I start with Amara? Okay, well they added the face puncher and the angel blade, the rapier, something. Whatever, it's another gun that shoots melee damage. And they have the fish slap as well. The Borderlands 3, definitely the best game for build diversity. You won't hear me say otherwise. I hate Borderlands 3 for a lot of reasons. Not for that. Amara has a lot of weird builds. She can punch an orb like 80 times. And one-shot things. Kind of. She can phase lock something. Well, technically it's not phase lock, it's phase grasp. Well, she like uses a fist and like grabs them. It's just phase lock. But you know, and she could be like a pretty okay gun user. She's pretty bad at it though. Like I would say, look, Amara's fun, kind of. I like melee builds, and melee Amara is kind of it's not the only way to play her, okay? Borderlands 3 is a game that is built in a way, mechanically at least, that is so good that you can do whatever you want with Amara. It's just, she's probably weaker at it than everyone else. With the exception of melee, kind of. Look, she's not even the best melee character, sorry, but still, melee Amara's a lot of fun. She's kind of diverse, she's kind of interesting. There's stuff she can do. But out of the characters in Borderlands 3, is she my favorite? Like, I'm gonna have to go no. So I'm gonna put her in the C tier. I'm just not feeling it. Alright, Flag. I'm leaving for last, actually. Take that. Moze. Moze is a weird character. Moze has a skill that is basically money shot too. She's insane. It's really dumb, and she's really broken. And basically, that's all she did for a long time. Until eventually, they gave her Iron Cub. And Iron Cub is basically Death Trap, but is good and works. Which is nice. And when they did that, they fixed Iron Bear. And now you can use Iron Bear past normal mode, and it won't just die in one hit and be useless. Which is neat. Except for the fact that you realize that you're playing on Mayhem 11 in Iron Bear, and you're running through levels, and you're murdering everything, and you're not even using a gun. And you know what? As far as class fantasy goes, believe it or not, I'm okay with that. I don't mind that really all that much. Because, I mean, that's what you're playing the character for. It's to drive Iron Bear and hit people with Iron Bear. And as far as Iron Bear customization goes, there's a lot of things you can do with it. And it's pretty interesting. But I think the reason, like, I think one of the things that makes Borderlands 3 shine is, like, how many different builds you can do, which is really made less interesting by Moze, who's kind of limited to a build that exploits a game mechanic that one-shots everything. Or you could do like a kind of weak fire build or a kind of weak explosive build. Or you could just put all your points into making Iron Bear really cool or Iron Cub really cool and then just having them play the game for you. And then you don't really farm for gear and you don't really interact with the game that much, which is kind of what happened to me with Melee Gaige, which is why I wound up liking her less. Which makes me not like Moze very much. I like Iron Bear, and I like piloting Iron Bear, and I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a good gameplay loop. But it's just like kinda, I don't know. It feels very non-Borderlands-y, I guess. And who am I to say what Borderlands things are, right? But I just feel like it isn't that. Zane. Zane's very cool. He has a lot of builds. He kind of also has a thing where he sort of exploits a mechanic to do infinite damage like Moze, but it's not quite as simple or cut and dry. And not to mention, if he doesn't do that, he still has a lot of other builds that are kind of interesting, and he's sort of built well, and he's pretty fun. I don't know, I like him. I would put him in, like, do I enjoy playing Zane more than a lot of these characters? Well, no, because once again, it's like, it's game by game basis. So I can't rate him based off of how I feel other characters are, right? Ah, shoot. I don't know. I don't know, man. Okay, you know what? Nisha goes up. Zane goes up. Baroness goes down. Okay. Alright, I'm happy enough with that. Okay. Flak. Flak's the best character ever conceived. If every character in Borderlands 3, if on character select everyone could pick only Flak, all four of you could have a drastically different build that all work in endgame. You could literally, all four Flak players could be entirely different players with entirely different builds, and they all can clear Mayhem 11 content. Holy shit. Flak is so good. He's so cool. You want to talk about Iron Cub? Fuck Iron Cub, okay? Loaderbot, like, can solo the game for you. He's a badass. He's so good. Literally, enemies just shoot him and they die. The Gamma Burst lasts, like, forever. Bro, he's just... Okay, and then he has a cool melee build, too. He has a really cool melee build where he uses his rack, right? And he has, like, a thing where he does, like, a hand gesture and he summons, like, rack out of, like, a portal and they attack things, and it's really cool. But it's like, oh, it's not very good. But once you get a skill from a class mod that lets them do grenade damage, you can have them use a fish slap, and then you could use, like, a shield that's good for meleeing things, and it's just really fun. It's fun, he's fun, and he has a stealth build like Zero. He has a stealth build like Zero, except his stealth lasts longer, and he crits so many times, and he gains so much, like, attack speed, and he has a support build. You can throw down a gravity snare, which heals your party and gives them ammo. And you can have, like, a pet that gives everything health regen. And you could do so much. And you could heal your pets with the defib gun that you get from the Fortnite DLC. And, bro, he's so cool. Flack is so good. He can do everything. And for that, I love him. He is not the strongest Vault Hunter in Borderlands 3, but he is by far, in my opinion, the best designed in any game. And on that note, I will now order the tiers. And yes, it's a little top-heavy, but if I like the game, it's gonna be top-heavy. I'm sorry. Alright, C rank, Salvador goes on top, then Amara, then Krieg, then Moze. B tier, I actually agree with this. I know I moved the Ice Queen down randomly, and she was in a... Essentially, she moved down 5 spaces from where she was, but I still agree with it. In A tier... Ooh. Who do I put at the top of A tier? This is a hard one, actually. Okay, for me, it's Brick, then Nisha. I know they shouldn't be next to each other on the tier list, okay? They're bitter enemies, the two of them. But still. Brick, then Nisha. Then Athena. Yeah, I think this is where I'd put it. Then Zane, then Maya, then Mordecai. And then for S tier... Yeah. Okay. Hey, you know what? We have one S tier from every game. Which means I feel good about my tier list. Okay? I would feel bad about it if I didn't, because then I'd feel like I was being biased. And I don't feel like I'm biased. Okay, I am biased. But I don't feel like I'm biased because there's a character from every game in the tier. So, meh. Yeah, you know what? I'm happy with this tier list. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. Yeah, I'd love to argue with you in the comment section below, and you know, there might be more Borderlands content to come because I don't know, I'm just kind of on a kick. We'll see. Maybe I'll finish Halo at some point. Love ya. See ya. Boo.